The wilderness offers peace, thrill, and escape, but sometimes nature turns unforgiving. While many find freedom outdoors, others face fear, pain, and tragedy. These 10 real-life stories reveal how ordinary adventures became some of the most haunting deaths in outdoor history. First Doctor, Dave Hogman, devoured by a crocodile while saving his wife. It was meant to be the perfect day. On August 2nd, 2023, Dr. Dave Hogman and his family were nearing the end of a month-long trip through the lush wilderness of far north Queensland, Australia. They had been caravanning across the landscape, camping under the stars, and exploring riverbanks that shimmered with life and danger. That day, they were at a place called Crocodile Bend, a popular yet perilous tourist spot along the Annan River near Cooktown, home to massive saltwater crocodiles. The family walked along a marked trail when the ground gave way beneath Dave. In an instant, he fell into the murky river below. His wife, Jane, rushed over. She saw him struggling in the water and, without hesitation, slid down the unstable bank to reach him. She grasped his arm, desperate to pull him to safety. But the slope was too steep, the mud too slick. She started to slide in as well. At that moment, Dave made a split-second, devastating decision. He let go of her hand. Seconds later, a massive crocodile emerged and dragged him beneath the water. Jane, still clinging to the bank, watched helplessly as her husband disappeared. The couple's 3 sons, nearby but shielded by other relatives, didn't witness the horrifying moment directly. Search crews scoured the river for days. Eventually, wildlife officers located and euthanized a 16-foot crocodile bearing a unique scar on its snout. Human remains were discovered inside. Dave wasn't fishing or acting recklessly. He was simply walking with his family. The tragedy shattered a community. A well-loved general practitioner, compassionate and admired, died trying to save his wife. A GoFundMe set up for Jane and the children raised over $160,000 in days. Friends, patients, and even strangers honored a man who always put others before himself, even in his final breath. 2. Rachel Morin, a brutal murder on a familiar trail. Rachel Morin was doing what she loved, running. On August 5th, 2023, the 37-year-old mother of 5 set out on the Ma and Pa Trail in Harford County, Maryland. It was a routine jog on a trail she had run many times before, but this time, she never returned. When her boyfriend reported her missing late that night, panic set in. The next day, her body was found in the woods just 80 feet off the path. The scene was horrifying. Rachel had suffered severe head trauma, her injuries so gruesome that an open casket funeral was not possible. A massive investigation unfolded. Hundreds of tips came in. The case gained national attention when DNA evidence from her body matched that from a Los Angeles home invasion. The suspect? Victor Martinez Hernandez, a 23-year-old from El Salvador, who had previously crossed into the U.S. illegally and was wanted for murder in his home country. After a 10-month manhunt, Hernandez was found in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He was arrested in a bar, attempting to lie about his identity. He now faces charges in Maryland. Rachel's murder raised chilling questions. How did someone so dangerous cross borders so easily? And what made Rachel his target that day? Authorities have since pledged to increase surveillance on the trail. But the trauma remains, especially for Rachel's children and family. Her mother called her capture a bittersweet moment. Justice, yes, but at an unbearable cost. 3. Sheck Exley, vanishing into the deepest sinkhole on Earth. In April 1994, one of the most experienced cave divers in history met a mysterious and terrifying end. Sheck Exley, 45, was attempting to reach the bottom of Zacatán, a remote sinkhole in northeastern Mexico believed to be the deepest of its kind. He had over 4,000 dives to his name and had written the rulebook on cave diving safety. On April 6th, Exley and diving partner Jim Bowden began their descent. Bowden turned back at 898 feet when he noticed his air consumption was too high, but Exley continued downward. Then, silence. His bubbles stopped. His backup tanks were never touched. 2 days later, his body was found tangled in his own guideline, with his equipment intact. His dive computer showed a maximum depth of only 906 feet, far short of his goal. The cause? Possibly high-pressure nervous syndrome or a nitrogen-induced blackout. No one knows for sure. Was it a tragic miscalculation? Or had he accepted his fate and wrapped himself in the line to make recovery easier for others? For the diving world, it was a devastating loss. Sheck had retrieved over 40 bodies in his career. This time, he was the one who didn't return. 4. Henry Worsley, the solo Antarctic expedition that went too far. How far would someone go to fulfill a hero's unfinished dream? Lieutenant Colonel Henry Worsley was trying to honor the legacy of Sir Ernest Shackleton by completing a solo, unaided crossing of Antarctica. In November 2015, the 55-year-old veteran set off pulling a 150-kilogram sled, traversing the brutal, wind-blasted terrain of the southernmost continent. For 69 days, he endured whiteouts, blizzards, and solitude, covering 913 miles. Just 30 miles from completing his journey, Worsley collapsed. He called for rescue and was airlifted to a hospital in Punta Arenas, Chile. At first, doctors believed he was suffering from exhaustion, but it was worse. He had bacterial peritonitis. His organs had begun to fail. He died on January 24, 2016. The mission raised over £100,000 for wounded veterans. Prince William called him a man of great courage. Fellow explorers said he had attempted the hardest form of travel on Earth, and although he never reached the finish line, many believe he accomplished something far greater. 5. Geraldine Largay, lost just miles from safety. In 2013, 66-year-old Geraldine Jerry Largay set out to complete her long-held dream, hiking the entire Appalachian Trail. But on July 22nd, she vanished in the thick Maine wilderness. Her last known communication, a text message that never sent, revealed she was lost and asking for help. For nearly a month, she survived alone, making camp, setting fires, and writing in a journal. She wrote messages to her husband and daughter, including a final plea that someone find her body and inform her family. She died just 2 miles from the trail. For over 2 years, no one knew what happened. Her remains were finally found in 2015 by a forester. The tragedy sparked deep questions. How could someone vanish so close to civilization? Her story became a chilling reminder of how unforgiving nature can be, even for the prepared. 6. The Tubes killings. Deaths that still haunt Washington's forests. Back in August 1985, Stephen Harkins and Ruth Cooper set off for a quiet camping trip near Tule Lake in Washington. Days later, Stephen was found shot to death in his sleeping bag. Their dog had been shot, too. Ruth was missing. 2 months later, her skull was found a mile away and her body just beyond it. A tube sock was tied around her neck. Then another couple vanished, Mike Reamer and Diana Robertson. Their 2-year-old daughter was found wandering near a Kmart. Months later, Diana's body was discovered. She too had a tube sock around her neck. At first, some believed Mike was the killer, but in 2011, his skull was found near Diana's remains, and it showed no gunshot wounds. It was later believed he too had been murdered. To this day, the tube sock killings remain unsolved. No suspects, no motives, just haunting questions. 7. Stephen Jackson, attacked by a black bear while drinking coffee. It was June 16, 2023, in the quiet forest of Groom Creek, Arizona. Stephen Jackson, 66, had settled into his morning routine, sitting outside with a cup of coffee. He had been building a home in the woods, planning a peaceful life with his partner, Annie Cook. Out of nowhere, a 365-pound black bear appeared. Without hesitation, it lunged at him, dragging him 75 feet down a slope. Neighbors rushed to help, honking horns and yelling. One grabbed a rifle and shot the bear, but it was too late. Officials were baffled. There was no food, no trash, nothing that would have drawn a bear. The attack was ruled predatory and unprovoked, an extremely rare event in Arizona. Annie later shared that every morning for 15 years, Stephen brought her coffee. That quiet ritual was gone forever. 8. Noura bint Akbar, a photo op that turned fatal. December 22, 2023, just days before Christmas. Noura bint Ahmad Akbar, 39, and her husband were hiking Beacon Hill Trail in Minnewaska State Park, New York. It was a peaceful day meant for reflection and scenic photos. Then she slipped. She fell nearly 70 feet into a ravine. Her husband watched in horror, using his phone to zoom in and record her condition through the trees. She was still alive, talking, thanking rescuers, and asking for sweet tea. Despite massive rescue efforts, including airlifting her out, Noura died at the hospital. Her last words were filled with gratitude. She kept saying, "Thank you" to those who stayed with her, even as her life slipped away. 9. Diana Bober, Oregon's first fatal cougar attack. Diana Bober was no stranger to the outdoors. On August 29, 2018, she went for a solo hike on the Hunchback Trail in Mount Hood National Forest. When she didn't return, family members knew something was wrong. Her body was found in a ravine. The wounds were not consistent with a fall. A medical examiner later confirmed she had been attacked by a cougar. It was the first confirmed fatal cougar attack in Oregon's history. Officials tracked and killed a nearby cougar, though DNA testing was inconclusive. The tragedy led to renewed public discussion on wildlife management and hiking safety. Diana had fought back. using sticks, spray, and strength, but in the end, nature overpowered her. Zainter Uli Steck, The Fall of the Swiss Machine. April 30th, 2017. The Himalayas stood still as one of their most elite climbers took his final fall. Willy Steck, known as the Swiss Machine, was attempting a bold climb, Everest to Lhotse without oxygen. After his partner dropped out due to frostbite, Steck continued solo. On April 29th, he decided to warm up on nearby Nuptse. At dawn the next day, he was seen climbing alone. Hours later, his body was found shattered 3,300 feet below. He had slipped, simple as that. For someone who had summited Annapurna solo and climbed all 82 alpine peaks in just 62 days, his death was a jarring reminder. Even the best are never beyond risk. The mountains don't play favorites. Each of these stories is a chilling reminder that nature, while beautiful, can turn tragic without warning. From unprovoked animal attacks to heartbreaking missteps and unsolved mysteries, these outdoor adventures left behind loss, questions, and unforgettable grief. Adventure comes with risk, but sometimes the cost is far too high. If these stories moved you, consider sharing this video with someone who loves the outdoors. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more real-world survival stories and deep dives into unsolved outdoor mysteries. Stay curious, stay safe.